If we're going to talk about strength of teams, he played the 1 and 2 Bucks. We look at a guy like Rudolph who came in for the Steelers and is going to be playing the Steelers. Yes, the 1 and 2 Bucks. You're not going to go ahead and change one into their good defense.
Hey, yo, man, the money dangerous. The money makers do this for my pay.
Shout out to Jason Leone. Thank you for that intro song and outro song. You can find that on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you want, you can find it. So today we're going to start off the episode with a little bit of Would You Rather. In this case, we're going to put two players up against each other and discuss whether we would want to have A or B option. First on the docket, we're going to talk about would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield? Brennan, who do you got?
So we're going to make this real quick. This isn't like your average middle school would you rather make out with them. So this is who do you think you're putting your trust in? This guy, I'm going to give him the ball at the end of the game. This is who I want running my team. And we've been debating this topic all week. It's been causing some huge things. Dakota wasn't allowed at my family brunch this week over it, a lot of tension. I'm a little bit leaning towards changing my mind, but I'm still sticking with Lamar for a few key factors for me.
That's a joke.
So I got the stats right here for you. From 2018 to 19, you're going to see the huge swing from Lamar becoming an actual player or a leader. Lamar in 2018 had 58.2% completion, which is what we were talking about because Baker had a 63%. So obviously he trumped them there. Baker had more passing yards and touchdowns in last year's season because he had 863 yards. No, that's Baker. Baker ended with 3,275 yards and 27 TDs, while Lamar only had a little over 1,000 yards and then 6 touchdowns. So obviously big difference there. But then you look at 2019 stats, and we got Lamar Jackson coming in 2019 at 63% with 863 yards, 7 touchdowns, and no interceptions yet. He's got 113.9 QBR and a 2-1 record with 172 rushing yards and and a rushing touchdown. You look over at Baker right now in 2019, 56.9% completion rate, only 800 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, and a 70.3% QBR and a 1 and 2 record.
Am I up?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying right here? And I did mention it.
Here comes the debate.
Because the Ravens, as we're gonna say, the Ravens have
Here comes the debate.
They had an easy win, a 59-10 over the Dolphins, who we've already established is pretty much just a Pilates team in the NFL at this point. A 23-17 over the Cardinals, who are making a comeback but really aren't a good team yet. And then they lose to the Chiefs, but in a 28-33 shootout.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he didn't throw for 300 yards and didn't throw a single touchdown against the Chiefs. He only threw for 272 with 2 touchdowns against Arizona. And 5 of those touchdowns came against the worst defense in the league and arguably a team that doesn't even belong in the NFL right now. He threw for 324 yards in the Miami game. That's the most he's thrown all season. He had a quarterback rating of 158.3 against Miami,
which is
104.8 against Arizona. So it went down. And then, get this, a 70.6 rating against an actual defense.
Which is still better than Baker's
It's
rating.
an actual defense.
That's still better than Baker's
It's an
rating.
actual defense.
Yeah,
so
but it's still better than Baker's
you
rating.
because you hit with the stats. I like the stats part, so thanks for taking care of that.
I'm
for
not a
me.
stats guy. I hate stats.
I mean, you showed already that Baker does have better stats for the most part. I mean, obviously, Lamar's a better rusher.
For 2018.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a key part of
absolutely.
his game, yeah.
So here's what I'll point out. Baker flipped an entire franchise, and they didn't win a single game for 2 years in a row. He had a brand new head coach.
Yeah.
Last year, the Ravens had the second best defense in the league, which really helped Lamar Jackson take the pressure off him. That was good. He had 27 touchdowns. You already said. Lamar only had a passing rating of 84.5.
Yep.
He got to follow a veteran quarterback, which Baker didn't. He kind of just stepped into the role. He had Tyrod Taylor, but that didn't really mean much.
Tyrod Taylor is worse than a quarterback.
Yo, Tyrod's a dog, bro.
Tyrod's a running
He's a
jock
dog.
strap. He's a jock strap.
On Madden, he's a dog.
But as I was saying, so Lamar had he had a better supporting cast coming in.
Absolutely.
He got to follow Joe Flacco, who's a veteran quarterback, has a Super Bowl ring. He is an extremely reputable coach. I mean, a lot of people like him. I mean, he's an okay coach.
I don't know if we can go with
Questionable
the Super Bowl
calls,
rating.
but-
Eli's got 2.
He's well respected compared to the Browns coach, because our Browns coach was brand new. Put it that way.
Freddie Kitchens?
I mean, so as I look at it, as Lamar is kind of set up like almost Lionel Messi in soccer, and CR7 played for Sporting.
Yeah.
I think he has a way better supporting cast. I mean, now
agree.
Baker has a lot of
Young
things going
talent.
for him now. He has a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, but I take Baker every time.
So this is where I come in to, kind of split the C here. I'm not a stats guy, but I do have my stats laid out. You guys heard enough. I'm not going to go ahead and go into that. But the reason that I would take Lamar Jackson over Baker Mayfield is simply because of the fact of their attitudes. I think as a quarterback, you have to be a leader. You have to bring a different kind of energy to the field. I love Baker. Don't get me wrong. I think his energy is through the fucking roof. But I think sometimes that his attitude can change a game for the worst. I think Lamar's a quiet leader. He does a lot of good things undercover. He just shuts his mouth and says, hey, but I'm a running back. And that's the only comeback he has. Baker will go on shows and do all his talking shit about how his team is so good and he's so this, and they really haven't proven shit this year.
Baker's pretty humble.
Whoa. Baker's pretty humble.
Baker is not
but
cocky in any way.
Yeah,
all
he
he's
is.
ever done. No, he
Yes,
went on the Colin
is.
Cowherd show and literally just backed himself up.
Right, but that was because that was the first person that ever wanted to truly attack him on
No,
their own
everybody
show.
was attacking him. He was
I'm just saying.
quarterback. They were comparing him with Johnny Manziel. All he's done is protect
He is
himself.
like Johnny
and his
Manziel,
legacy.
a sober Johnny
Whoa.
Manziel.
No, stop talking.
Yes, he is.
Why?
They both have attitude problems.
No, they don't.
Yes, they
Baker
do.
has
Baker's
a winning attitude. Everybody says it. He's
right.
a winner.
Baker. Listen, Baker's a good leader, but I would never, ever, ever trust Baker to make the decisions because he's too extravagant with his decisions. He's going to try to do too much. He's going to try to throw the ball to OBJ. That's 50 yards downfield. There goes the pick that ends the game. I mean, look at what just happened on Sunday when he played.
I mean,
they played the
this is
Rams. He was
for-
on the 7-yard line and couldn't complete a pass 3 times. Lamar Jackson would have just ran it with his feet and took it into the end zone and won the game,
Yeah, but
like Daniel Jones did.
Baker doesn't have that ability, so it'd be dumb for Baker to try and take off and do that.
Well, that's why I'm taking
That's
Lamar
one
Jackson
I'm
because he can throw the ball and run the ball.
Okay, first of all,
I'm on Lamar's side, but I gotta
Yo,
back him on the way
Baker
you're saying
Mayfield threw
this.
47 touchdowns and 8 picks in college football. He doesn't make
Okay.
dumb decisions. You gonna say that about Russell Wilson for throwing the
Bro.
ball to Malcolm Butler?
Bro,
That's crazy.
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
crazy.
No, what I'm saying is if you're going to be a quarterback, your decision making has to be good. Your collegiate stats mean nothing that reflect your NFL debuts, okay? Baker Mayfield is a gunslinger. He is a throw the ball first kind of guy, which gets him in trouble. Lamar Jackson expands all his options. Can I run the ball? Can I throw the ball? Who's open? Okay, now I'm going to take off and run and bust this dude's shit because I'm fast enough and I'm like a human joystick Madden type player. Baker doesn't have that. If I'm going to start my quarterback, I'm playing Lamar Jackson because he is the second coming of Mike Vick. He's got an arm that fucking can be tweaked to be a little better, but he's got feet that
overthrows
runs,
him.
bro. He can run.
Yeah.
Baker don't run. That's the issue.
That's what I was saying about the Chiefs game because they shut down his passing game going into halftime, and he came out and he's like,
Right.
all right, I'm going to run the ball, and then it opened up for him to actually have his receivers open when they started going to QB spy, which I get what you're saying. He's way more a versatile player and more of a multiple level threat. But if you look at Baker, like we're saying, Baker isn't going to make that choice because especially, if you have OBJ and you're inside the red zone, that's who you're throwing the ball to.
Right. But in Baker's sense, he's got OBJ, Jarvis Landry, and David Njoku.
Yeah.
Like, why are we not looking for 3 targets? Like, Lamar Jackson's got who? Willie Snead?
Got
Mark
Willie
Ingram?
Snead, He's got Marquise Brown.
Marquise Brown's a dog. You know, he's got weapons, but the weapons that Baker has are veteran dogs. You know, OBJ's proven to be good. Jarvis is proven to be good. Njoku's proven to be good.
He's only a third year.
And right, but he's still good. He's proven himself in the league.
He's
Marquise
got-
Brown,
He's got
rookie.
Nick Chubb.
Willie
Nick
Snead,
Chubb doesn't drop many
fucking
passes.
very, very roller coastery for me. He doesn't really produce a lot most of the time. He's consistent, but not outstandingly consistent. So I'm taking Lamar Jackson based off of the fact that he can run and do everything that Baker can't and more.
I think this weekend's gonna
He
be
can't
really.
do everything. He can't throw the ball.
This is gonna be really.
But he throws it
interesting.
good enough to win games.
He just threw the ball 43 times last game and
Yeah.
completed 22 of them. He didn't even have 50%.
You know what's crazy is that Baker threw 36 and completed 18 of them on a 50% completion. Lamar Jackson had 51.1. So if we're talking about completion rates, Lamar beats him again. And passing yards, he had 267, and Baker only had 195.
Well, he did throw the ball quite a few more times.
I'm just saying. You want to talk about them being a better quarterback statistically, it's Lamar Jackson at week 3. Because you're going to say that
Yeah,
week
this
2,
season
week
we're
1 and
saying
2,
he's better.
right. You're saying week 1 and week 2, he didn't play real teams. He faced a real team, and so did Baker when he played the Rams. Their stats, Lamar's better. On paper, Lamar is better. He didn't throw an interception. Baker threw an interception and fumbled. Lamar Jackson rushed for a touchdown. Baker threw for a touchdown, so they're even there on the touchdown marks. Lamar's completion rate is better. Lamar's turnover ratio is better. You can't argue with what's on paper.
Right.
As of week 3, Lamar
think-
Jackson outplayed
I
Baker
think
Mayfield.
if we look at their careers as a whole, then we'd say we would choose Baker.
Yes.
But if you look at this season and where
Yes.
it's leading, I think that's where we make the distinction that I'm staying with Lamar because I see more potential because of the fact that he can do things Baker doesn't have the option to
Right.
do. But as a actual quarterback that I would rely my trust in, if I need someone to throw the ball, like if you're going to go up against, say, the Saints defense, where you know you're going to have Cameron Jordan, you're going to break the pocket down, they're going to force you to throw the ball, then I'm going with Baker. Because I know when you make Lamar, if you hold him inside the pocket, which is really hard to do, and force him to throw the ball, which the Chiefs did in the first half, he struggles. When you start letting him become Lamar Jackson, the human joystick, that's when he wins games.
And I also think that the other reason that I choose Lamar over Baker is because Baker's offense that he's in right now is way less effective when he's in the pocket over 4 seconds. Over 4 seconds, he starts turning over the ball, making bad decisions, the play goes to shit. Lamar Jackson, after 4 seconds, can run. That dude's going to get the fuck out of the pocket and run.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference that puts Lamar ahead of Baker this season for me, is that he's going to be able to do other things than throw the ball. So now they have to run a QB spy or a QB contain, and that's less pressure on the quarterback, now giving him time to throw the ball and let people like Marquise Brown get open and Willie Snead get open.
Yeah.
And then you got to run the ball with Mark Ingram, and then he's going to run the ball himself on a QB read. Baker's not going to take a QB read and run for 60 yards. That's not going to happen.
I think you guys are underestimating Baker's scrambling ability, though.
No, I think he's a great
He's not
scrambler,
slow
but he's
by
not a
any
runner.
means.
No.
But I think
He's not slow,
one
but
thing
that's
that
not his choice.
He's
so
not a
here's the
runner.
reason why I disagree, because I was just talking about how his QBR has gone down. I'm talking about Lamar right now.
Yeah.
It's continued to go down.
His QBR has gotten better since he joined the league.
That's true.
No, I'm
He's
talking
lost.
his last 3 games.
Oh, yeah, but that's because he went from the Dolphins to playing teams like the Chiefs.
Right, and he did all of his work practically against the Dolphins.
Yes,
as I threw that
which
out
I
there,
did give you
which
acknowledgement
is
of.
terrible.
But he also, if we look at them playing the Dolphins, like I said, Tom Brady came in with the best receiving core at that time and only had 43 points against the Dolphins and had a worse QBR than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but Tom Brady's not that great of a quarterback.
I don't think
understand.
Tom
That's an
Brady-
argument for a different day, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying he still. We can't take away just because he played a shitty quarter or he played a shitty defense. I still couldn't go out there and fucking play like that against the Dolphins defense.
Well, that's.
I mean, I'm good for like 263 yards, but I'm not throwing for 5 touchdowns and 300 something.
I just think if we're going to look on paper at week 3, Lamar's got him beat. You know, that's where I see it, but everyone's
think
entitled.
One thing that I really liked about where I see Lamar's career going is they interviewed him going into this game, and they asked him in this point before he left the locker room. They asked him. They said, "Is there any quarterbacks that you've played with or that you've grown up looking at that you model your game after? Anyone you try and like take little things of?" And he said, "No." He's like, "I want to make a name for myself as who I am. I have my own play style, and that's what I am."
That's good.
I think he's doing it too. He's proven like we haven't seen. Besides the Cam Newton for the one breakout year and the RG3 for the one great year that he had, we haven't really seen a quarterback that runs the ball like that. Like, yes, Russell Wilson has been known to do it, but not to the effect of Lamar Jackson.
Michael Vick.
That's what I'm saying. Michael Vick even called this kid out in college and said he's better than I was.
No.
He literally said he's better than I was at Virginia Tech.
I don't believe that.
You don't think college Lamar Jackson is better than college Michael Vick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what he's saying.
that-
No,
college.
Michael Vick.
I thought you meant
No, in
overall.
college,
Yeah,
he said
that's
he's
what
better
I'm
than
like, wait a
I.
fucking
When he
minute.
was in college, he called him out and said he's better than I was at Virginia Tech, and that's a big fucking greeting from a guy who
I mean,
changed
I think the
game.
problem with Lamar, with being his own player, is he's already mimicking a lot of who Michael Vick is. Issue is he doesn't have a strong enough, or like a strong arm like Mike Vick did.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Michael
true.
Vick had one of the strongest arms
In the
I've
NFL.
seen.
You got a
Yeah.
fucking
But
cannon.
he wasn't accurate, and I mean Lamar's the same way though. His complete percentage isn't crazy high when
Yeah.
he plays a better team, but I mean,
But look at Michael Vick.
I think it's gonna be fun to watch Lamar.
Michael Vick's
develop.
favorite receiver when he was really, I mean, not with the Falcons, obviously. When he came back from his whole issues and he was with the Eagles again, Mike Vick's favorite receiver is kind of the same as Lamar. He was throwing it to Deshaun Jackson, the dude with the wheels who gets open. Now he's got
That's
Marquise
true.
Brown. That's who he wants to go to because he can just throw it up and hope he gets to it.
Get your fucking leg hair off me.
Bro, you're the one with leg hair. This is gross.
I think this weekend's gonna be a
Sorry,
really.
I'm a man.
This is gonna be really sweet for us to actually like break it down and compare because now it's not gonna be us watching them play other teams. We're watching them play each other's team and
Right.
each other's defense. Who honestly this season we've seen a lot of the same things from their defenses. So I'm excited to see who performs better in this game.
Absolutely. All right, on to the next one of Would You Rather. We're going to talk about would you rather have a healthy Saquon Barkley or a healthy Todd Gurley? Dakota, who you got?
I I'm not gonna do the healthy part. It didn't tell you that.
I think I honestly kind of agree with him. I think that health obviously plays into it.
I'm gonna
Okay,
take Todd
okay.
Gurley specifically because Saquon Barkley just went out with a severe ankle sprain.
Oh my
He's missed
God.
some weeks. Here's why. Todd Gurley last year was a stud. He's been a stud every single
He
year
hasn't
he's been
done
in the
anything
league.
this year though.
He's been a stud every single year he's been in the league.
He said he hasn't done shit this
So
year.
Yeah, he
he
hasn't.
ran for 1,251 yards. He had 17 touchdowns with a 4.9 average compared to a Saquon at 1,307 yards, 11 touchdowns, and a 5 exact average per run.
And 4 receiving touchdowns.
Okay, here's the thing. Todd Gurley,
Missing 4 touchdowns and 700 yards.
no, Todd Gurley doesn't have like 5 or 6 or 7 touchdowns on his stat line because he literally used to go down to the 1 yard line on a breakaway and kneel it to keep the clock running.
Yeah.
So Todd Gurley really should be around 20 touchdowns. We'll give him his 3, but I'm pretty sure it happened more. I literally watched like a 2-minute highlight tape about a guy literally making a breakaway run and then not
Because
scoring.
Todd Gurley cares more about the win than he does
Right,
batting
and
his
he
stats.
already has
Right.
6 more touchdowns than Saquon Barkley. We went off of stats as far as who gets sacked more, and the Giants were way higher. I mean, that doesn't directly correlate to Saquon Barkley, but
But
I'm just going
about
to take.
the amount of blocking and the line.
I'm just going to take Gurley over for blocking. So I'm personally going to take Gurley, and because Saquon had one big bust out year, and now he just got injured in his second year. And as much as it sucks, injury plays a huge role in someone and how great they are.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Todd Gurley.
I'm going to go ahead and say if we're playing it current day, who we'd rather take, I'm going with Saquon. But if we were talking about just in general for their own time lengths, I would have gone with Todd overall. But Saquon for me makes more sense at this point in time. Todd's 5 seasons in with, as I've been saying every single show, his knee. His knee still looks like he's struggling to me. He just rushed for under 50 yards, second week where he hasn't had that many yards. But yes, Todd Gurley's got 4,700 yards and averages 4.4 a carry in his career with 47 touchdowns and 10 receiving. But Saquon's only played 1 season and he's already at 1,300 yards, 5 average yards a carry, 11 touchdowns on the ground, and then 4 touchdowns through the air. So he's already making a pretty big chunk towards coming after Todd Gurley. Yes, he's hurt and he's going to be out for potentially 8 weeks, which is huge. But we're looking at Todd Gurley, who may not be able to ever play at the level he was at again.
What's 11 plus 4?
15.
Todd Gurley had 17 rushing touchdowns. Just throw that one out there.
No, I'm saying versus career. Like looking at the career, the amount of touchdowns that he would have had to have catch Todd Gurley, and he already put 15 up with, as we've said, the Giants line ranked 22nd overall last year and had 47 sacks, with Eli Manning, the human fucking turd of the NFL, leading his squad.
He definitely is a
Which you had that coming into the league as a rookie. Your number 1 receiver who you think you're going to help build your team with leaves and goes to Cleveland, and you know at this point, well, fuck, I'm basically going to be the only person running the ball into the defense every play, and he still is doing big things with it.
Real quick note. Eli Manning is a class act, man.
Yeah, he really is.
Class act.
I'm a Giants fan, and I think Eli Manning is probably the worst fucking quarterback to ever play. He's been in the league way too long. He should have retired like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mhm.
I think for him to handle a situation like he has, fucking round of applause to you, dude, because you're a class act. You stood on the sidelines. You're the first person to jump up with Danny J when he fucking scored his tutty. That's some good shit, dude. That's some really good shit.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
And he's going to go to Oklahoma.
Say his last name for the crowd. Tua what? Tua what?
Tua Taco.
I think it's Tua Tagovailoa, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Tagovailoa.
But I think
Tagovailoa.
we're looking at now he has Daniel Jones, who just had a huge game and made a name for himself to start this so far, and when Saquon's back, it's gonna be huge to watch those two as long as he stays on the path. But literally, a big point for me is the fact that, like I said, he's playing with Eli, who, yes, Manning family. Eli's got 2 rings as an acclaimed passer in his career, but I'm pretty fucking convinced at this point that Eli is colorblind and doesn't actually know who the fuck's on his team when he throws the ball.
Hey, he beat Tom Brady. Not all heroes
Twice.
wear
He beat
capes.
Tom Brady twice.
Not all
Twice.
heroes wear
Fuck you,
capes,
TB
baby.
twice.
Yeah, that is
He
true.
beat him twice. That's all I'm saying.
Literally, if I was Eli Manning, I would tattoo that on my fucking forehead because they're gonna see, be like, oh, you're Peyton's brother. No, I'm the one who beat fucking Tom Brady. That's who I am. Archie doesn't even matter.
So I think my pick for this will be Saquon Barkley as well. I just think he's so young and he's on track to do the same things Todd Gurley does, if not better.
You may get injured every single game.
No, I'm just saying physically, they're on different levels. Todd Gurley's had that knee injury that's reoccurring. This is Saquon's, first really major injury in the league.
That's what happened to Todd Gurley, and all he does is get hurt now.
No, Todd
Right, but
Gurley
it's
tore his
different,
ACL in college.
yeah.
Saquon didn't have a major injury.
Yeah, he
in
tore
college.
his shit at Georgia.
He has a
bro.
high ankle sprain. That's not the same as
Correct.
2 ACL tears.
That's correct.
Gurley's a dog.
He is a dog. I'm not saying he's not a dog. I'm
Gurley's
just
a dog,
saying,
but Saquon could fucking lift this house with his quads.
right. I think you can use the same adjective to describe Saquon's legs as Ron Jeremy's dick, and that's just massive.
Whoa.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and take Saquon just because his legs are
Is Ron,
so
word.
is Ron Jeremy the guy who delivers pizzas?
No, yeah.
You think he was a doctor in one of them
Yeah,
too?
I saw him as a
Sure,
doctor.
lifeguard or something like that. I don't know.
Pretty sure he always had like a strange box with him.
All right, for the next comparison, who would you rather? We are gonna do CFB here. Matt Leinart
Dude, it's hot.
or Tim Tebow.
I'm gonna go ahead and start this one off. I don't really watch a lot of college football, but I did back in the day. I think that Tim Tebow is one of the greatest talents we've ever seen play the quarterback position in the college atmosphere. But I also think that Matt Leinart is one of the greatest arm throwers that we've ever seen in the college atmosphere, because he used to stand back there and sling this thing with 10,000 yards passing. Tim Tebow had about 9,000 yards passing or something like that, but he did a lot more with his feet. I'm going to keep the same argument that I had with Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. I think the only reason that Tim Tebow is the guy I'm going with is because of what he can do with his feet. He stands in the pocket, he makes things happen. You think about not only in college, but what he did with the Broncos when he scrolled out left, rolled out right, threw a deep bomb and got him into the playoffs. I think that is the type of plays that Tim Tebow produces for his teams. And I think that if I'm going to stick with the same argument and same ideas, that I want a quarterback that can move, run, and get me a first down throwing the ball or running the ball, or just making a dynamic play, I'm going to go ahead and take Tebow without the stats involved.
Okay, so I'm just gonna point some out here real quick because you guys are obsessed with these new rushing quarterbacks, and that's where the league looked like it was gonna go. But I'm gonna point this out right now. Some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Let me know how many of them are actually rushers. You got Brady, you got Manning, Montana, Elway, Favre, Marino, Breeze,
Favre
Unitas,
did a little bit of
Rodgers, Young. Only when he had to, he wasn't actually
But
running.
he did a little bit of
But
running.
he's not a go-to runner like Lamar Jackson. Bradshaw. Out of all of those guys, not a single one of them rushed the ball.
Yeah. You're leaving out the actual quarterbacks who did it and made a name for themselves.
Right, like Michael Vick.
Yeah, but those
Michael
guys aren't
Vick,
as
Danny
successful.
Manning,
They're not as
Dante
successful as what
Culpepper,
I'm saying.
Donovan McNabb.
Right, but they're not as successful.
They
as
also
these
played
other
for
guys.
teams
Why
like
not?
the Eagles.
They were also really good when Donovan McNabb was
What?
there.
Why wouldn't those
Because of
quarterbacks be
McNabb.
considered like talked about in the top, the biggest quarterbacks ever?
The only one that's
I
a
think-
rushing first
'Cause they're
quarterback
not.
that we mentioned would be Michael Vick.
Yeah, but I think Michael Vick has a case to be in the top quarterbacks of all time. Minus the whole dog thing. I think he's got a shot.
That guy never got a Super Bowl ring.
Right, there's plenty of quarterbacks that don't have Super Bowl ring. Look at Dan Marino. He doesn't have a Super Bowl ring.
Dan Marino does.
I don't think he does.
I thought he did.
No.
God, we look stupid.
I don't think Dan Marino has one. But that's the thing is that, we talk about being the most winningest quarterback. People talk about Tom Brady being the greatest of all time. But to me, I don't think Super Bowl rings defines that. I think, 50 greatest quarterbacks to not win a ring. Dan Marino is the first name that pops up. And he's one of the best quarterbacks ever. Ever. He went undefeated and lost in the Super Bowl, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, right there. Dolphins lost 38-16 in the Super Bowl, but they were undefeated that year and didn't get the Super Bowl win. It was one of the biggest upsets ever. I think that
Next to the Patriots being undefeated twice and losing the Super Bowl.
Eli Manning, yet again, he's a dog. He's a dog.
We can't
An
call
old
him a dog when we just said that
He's an
shit.
old dog. I just said an old dog. We can give it to him. Everybody likes their old dog. They're like, fuck, he's gonna die. We'll just
Everybody
keep him
likes
till
Eli
he
Manning
dies.
specifically because he beat Tom
Yeah,
Brady.
that's why.
Right. That's when I became a fan. Who you got? Tim Tebow, Matt Leinart, anybody?
I'm going with Tim Tebow. Personally, I have a little bit of a bias because I was a huge Florida Gators fan. That was my favorite all-time team. I got the year they won in 07 when they won the championship. I have the box of the Frosted Flakes with all their faces on it. Tim Tebow. Still haven't opened it. One of my favorite teams of all time to play the college football sport. But yeah, it is gonna be real stale. But
I think Tebow's the only guy he can name off of that box.
Percy Harvin, Cam Newton.
What?
He got you.
He started over Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Because
he
Percy
did.
Harvin was his main
Yeah,
receiver and Cam Newton was his
I'm
backup.
sure he did.
Yeah.
But I look at it kind of the same thing as Baker versus Lamar, because Leinart was not a rushing quarterback by any means, which is a huge difference to try and compare. Was when you're comparing someone like Tebow who ran the ball a lot. Tebow got 88 passing touchdowns, a 170.8 QBR rating, and then he rushed for 2,900 yards and 57 touchdowns. Leinart has 10,000 yards, so obviously more passing and 99 touchdowns, but a 159 QBR. So a lower QBR rating, but more touchdowns than yards, but then he only has negative 70 career rushing yards, but 10 touchdowns. Doesn't really make fucking sense, so I went and looked at it. He had 3 seasons where he had a season where he had negative 55 yards, a season with negative 34, and then he had a season where he rushed for an all-time high of 55. So he killed it that year, 55 yards.
You want to know why he had all those negative rushing yards? Fucking victory formation. Buddy went on a 34-game winning streak in college.
Don't get me wrong, I
I
won't take away from the fact that we still haven't seen a quarterback in college throw the ball at the same level as Leinart by any means. And then they are both highly decorated college quarterbacks, Heisman winners for both of them. But in 2007, Tebow wins the Heisman, the Maxwell Award, and the Davey O'Brien Award, and he wins 2 national titles with Florida. Leinart also wins the Heisman and won back-to-back national championships, and then was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame, which came after he fizzled out of the NFL. But in the college aspect, they're both highly decorated quarterbacks. Personally, I enjoy having the option for my quarterback to run. Someone like Tim Tebow, I don't think that we've seen somebody who really ran a program like that in college.
Matt Leinart,
It's-
Reggie Bush.
It's funny because I was doing the math on what you
Reggie
said about
Bush
taking
was
a
a
knee.
dog.
About taking a knee. If he has negative 70 rushing yards,
Average negative.
and he went on a
0.5.
how many game winning streak?
34.
That means that out of the 34 games, that if let's say he were to take a knee 3 times to end the game in one game, that means 23 times he won the game in a row by taking 3 knees. Like, that's pretty legit. That might actually be where his negative 70 comes from. Like, legitimately, that's pretty damn close.
I think that a couple of them came from him being stuck outside the pocket, and I think he tried to tuck it and run and got caught.
What was it, 34?
34-game winning streak until they lost in the Rose Bowl
That-
against Texas.
That puts him at 2 knees a game. Legitimately, that puts him at 2 knees a game for 34 games, negative
But
70
you know who
yards.
also need the game in victory formation? Tim Tebow.
That's
who
true.
also ended up with that many rushing yards? Tim Tebow.
That's true, but he was also running forward. You know, this guy was taking a step back, taking dubs to the fucking
Tim Tebow
face.
took more knees than Matt Leinart ever has.
I bet Matt Leinart got up to the
He
huddle
took
and
3
goes,
knees a game. He takes one before the game, one after the game, and then he takes one on the field to end it. That's 3 knees a game.
I
That's
bet Matt
funny.
Leinart steps up to the huddle and he's like, fuck, my rushing yards are going backwards.
Yo, that's a crazy stat.
If
That's
Matt
a
Leinart
crazy
was a
stat.
senior, if he was going into his senior year and he saw this podcast, he'd be like, Coach, no more victory formation. It's a QB sneak or nothing.
We get 1 fucking yard.
What a yard.
I want positive yards.
Gonna have 34 fucking
So
career
yeah,
rushing
I got
yards.
Tebow. Who'd you take?
I took Tebow.
Who are you going with?
I'm going Matt Leinart.
I felt that one coming.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy stepped up to the huddle and said, victory formation. Fuck.
The only reason he's taking Matt Leinart is because he took fucking 2 knees
Yeah.
a game for 34 games straight.
But I think Matt Leinart's is to the same thing for me as Drew Brees' where it's almost like he doesn't go to the sideline for his plays. His coach radios into him. He's like, hey, what do you think you're going to run this time? And Matt's like, shut the fuck up and hold my clipboard. I'll be back after this touchdown. And I'm going to go take a knee and I'm going to yell at you for making me take negative rushing yards for 3 years.
It did help, though, that Matt Leinart also had Reggie Bush, who's
That's
arguably
true,
the
yeah.
greatest running back to ever do it in college
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. He was a fucking
That
dog.
team in general is one of the craziest dynasties we'll ever see.
Oh,
Put it
yeah.
that way.
Oh yeah. So next on the docket, we're going to talk about young QBs in the NFL. Crazy stat from this weekend is that out of the 32 teams in the NFL, 20 of them had starting QBs under the age of 26. Some of the notable names were Daniel Jones, Mason Rudolph, Teddy Bridgewater. They're all pretty young. What?
Does that mean I still have a
Minshew.
shot?
Yes, you do still have a shot.
And Minshew.
And Minshew. They're all under the age of 26. So we're going to talk about whether we think that young quarterbacks is the new move in the league, or who did the best out of the new backups that are under the age of 26 in the league this year. Brennan, who you got?
Well, I mean, we can't really say if that's the new move because obviously it's the new move. The quarterbacks age out of the NFL. Drew Brees ain't gonna be rolling his fucking wheelchair into the field in 5 years.
Well, I'm saying that
I don't know
because
about
Drew
Tom
Brees got
Brady.
hurt, Ben
I don't know
Roethlisberger
about
did
Tom
good.
Brady because by some
No.
fucking grace of God, this dude is still playing football at the level that he is, as old as he
Was
is.
he 43, right? Something like
I
that?
think I thought he was only 41.
41?
Either way, he's over 40 years old.
He's
Oh,
old.
God. I
But
could not see my
breaking
dad
down
playing
this
football.
week, we got Daniel Jones obviously had the biggest game coming out with
Oh,
336
yeah, he
yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. But if we're going to talk about strength of teams, he played the 1 and 2 Bucs. We look at a guy like Rudolph who came in for the Steelers and is going to be playing this year. Yes, the 1 and 2 Bucs. You're not going to go ahead and change one of them. They're a good defense. But you look at Mason Rudolph who comes in against the 3-0 49ers who have made a path this year, and he's got 174 yards and 2 touchdowns with an interception. I still think that's a pretty good game coming into that system with a team like the Steelers who's struggling versus a 3-0 team.
Tampa Bay is the 6th best defense in the league right now.
That's
1
what
and
I
2.
was going for. It doesn't matter if they're 1 and 2.
1 and
Daniel
2.
Jones played a top 10 defense in the league. I think my pick for the week is definitely Daniel Jones. Not only did he performed very well, but he also kept the Giants with a lot of hope. We saw Saquon Barkley go out with a sprained ankle, high ankle sprain, and you could just see that the team morale was still like, okay, let's go get this shit. Because Daniel Jones came out ready to lead him. Eli backed him up. The defense still played hard, except for that pass that went to Mike Evans. Like, what was it, like 30 yards at the end of the game so they could shank the field goal. Yeah, fuck you, Tampa. Basically, I think Daniel Jones is it for the Giants. A lot of people thought that it was a terrible draft pick, including myself. I thought we drafted a Eli Jr.
I do believe we saw tears in your eyes.
Yeah, and I got really upset, and I think this is my apology to Danny J. I'm sorry, buddy, but you're athletic. You can do a lot of shit with your feet. You keep plays alive. I think that you do have a lot of Eli qualities to you that we liked when he beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. I think Danny J did play the best football out of the Young Bucks this weekend, and he'll continue to do that every week throughout the season.
For the sake of this podcast, ethically, we're going to go ahead and make a bold statement here. Danny J is in reference to Daniel Jones.
Correct.
No other Danny J's that are known by anyone
Correct.
on this podcast.
Correct.
Just to be clear.
Correct.
I also think that we're looking at a bright quarterback in Gardner Minshew. That dude is playing out of his mind with a less cooperative offense. Yes, Daniel Jones lost Saquon, but when you're looking at as an overall team, he's got more weapons with Saquon than going with the Jags. I mean, he has Fournette, but I don't really see him on the same level by any means as Saquon Barkley.
Fournette hasn't been on the same level since his rookie
That's
year.
what I'm saying.
But
Minshew, literally, he has, like what we were talking about with Baker, a winning mentality. That dude
Yeah.
is a different breed. He will do whatever it takes to win the football
But
game.
if you stretch in the locker room in a fucking jockstrap only, butt ass naked with your fucking
That's
mustache out,
why I like Gardner
no,
Minshew.
you'd have a lot of confidence too. He's walking out, dick swinging in the locker room.
How are you
He's
gonna
a
not?
dog.
How do you not pick the guy who cuts his own jean shorts?
He tried to break his own hand to continue playing football.
Yeah.
This man is insane. He's a dog. He's a dog. He's a dog. Not better than Danny J, but he's a dog.
I think he's better than Danny J.
What?
Yeah.
He
What?
was 20 for 30 against the Tennessee Titans, which is top 10 defense in the league. He threw for
Wait.
234.
What top 10 though? Because the Tampa 6, I want to know
There's
what.
7.
Still played a better defense,
204
Still
yards and
played
2 touchdowns.
and we won our game with a better defense.
Better offense for you guys though.
I guess the Giants' offense is better than the Tampa defense.
No, the Giants' offense is better than the Jaguars' offense.
I don't know about that.
I would.
I don't know about that.
I mean, the only
mean-
other quarterback that we haven't mentioned was Teddy B, and I honestly don't think that he's done anything that's.
No.
He hasn't done anything that
I
impresses me.
mean, legitimately, who do they have at receivers in New York?
Don't you have Shepard still?
We have Sterling Shepard, but I mean, you guys still have, or in Jacksonville, they have the Chark. I don't remember what his first name is, but
Exactly.
Chark, he's a dog. He's making a new name for himself, but he's a dog. Sterling Shepard's a dog. The only reason we know about Sterling Shepard is because I'm a fucking Giants fan.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
couldn't name a Jaguars wide receiver for you off the top of my head though.
No, but you could have named past ones, like when they had Blake Bortles, like Allen Robinson, and
Yeah, but we have him now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
I mean, I guess they're kind of the same.
They're kind of the
They don't
same.
really have.
we don't have a
good
running back
receiving core
anymore.
for 8 weeks. You still have
Right.
arguably one of the best running backs in the league.
Gardner Minshew also went 22 for 25 against the Chiefs and threw
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, and he had 88%
He
completion.
threw one
And he had
touchdown,
275
threw
yards.
one
Hey,
touchdown.
well,
in the
Danny J
game.
hasn't played the Chiefs yet, so we'll see how that plays.
But-
It's not going to be anywhere near the
But-
same.
Oh, bullshit.
Look at it like this, though. He came in week 1 when he had no idea that he was going to be coming on the field because he was coming behind Nick Foles, who signed a huge money deal. He comes in, throws a touchdown with over 170 yards. Comes in week 2 with 2 touchdowns, over 200, and week 3 with over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns again.
So right now through week 3, he's played KC, Houston, Tennessee, all decent defenses.
Wait, say it teams again.
KC,
Yep.
Houston,
Houston, Tennessee.
Okay.
He has a
Yes.
73.9 completion percentage,
which is huge.
5 touchdowns, only 1 interception, a 69-yard for long, and he's been sacked 5 times. His rating is 110. And he has
Were you going
11
somewhere with that?
Yeah, I'm waiting for
he
the.
has 11 carries for 80 yards as well.
Well, I
With
get
a
that.
21-yard
But
run long.
We've only seen Daniel Jones play 1 game. Gardner Minshew's
Which
played
is
2
what we're
and a
saying that
half.
Gardner's proved himself. already.
Right, yeah, and I think if we're gonna talk about overall, I'm gonna take Gardner Minshew, but as of
Isn't that
week
what we're
3.
talking about?
No, but I'm saying as of week
He's
3 because
saying
we
week
only
3 is
saw.
taking Daniel over
Yeah,
Gardner,
because we only
but
saw
in general,
1 game
Gardner.
from Daniel
We're talking
Jones. Right. Okay. So if we're gonna talk about like just
Marshall sucks at
no,
this.
no. I'm just saying if we're gonna talk about young quarterbacks, then yes, we're gonna keep in perspective how many games they've played. But for Daniel Jones to come out and win his first game ever with a losing team, because you talk about that all the time with Baker, that he's taking a losing team and making them better. The Giants are a losing team, and Daniel Jones is on track to make them a better team. I know it's only 1 win. I got a fucking hard on for 1 win, but you got to start somewhere. I think Daniel Jones with 1 win is better than Gardner Minshew with 3 or 2 or whatever he has.
He only has 1 win.
1. Yeah, exactly. So
But
we'll
look
get
at
to
the
see
team-
that.
well, look at the teams
Yeah,
that he
we'll
played.
get to see a little bit more out of.
I don't think Minshew's going anywhere. If I'm Nick Foles right now, I'm honestly looking at other options. I know I just got that money deal, but I don't think that you're coming back after an injury to your
I think he
shoulder.
does.
As old as Nick Foles is, I don't think you're
Oh,
taking
and
that job.
I thought
back.
you were saying because of Gardner Minshew was so good.
He is good, but I'm
Yeah.
saying
But I don't think that that's the deciding factor on whether Nick Foles comes back.
I
I
think
think
you
the
look at-
shoulder injury is why he doesn't.
I'm
come
saying
back.
it's one of the pieces. You look at his shoulder injury, how old he is already, and yes, they have a lot of money invested in him. But as good as Gardner's playing, I don't think that you pull out a hot quarterback and put him back in.
Yeah, I get that. Who are you taking for the youngest QB? Minshew?
Yeah, Minshew.
And you took who?
Minshew.
And I took Danny J?
Yep.
Shit.
Because you're biased, you
Look.
pussy.
I am biased. I'm
All
not
right.
afraid to say it. I'm biased.
Now we got week 4 NFL predictions coming up. To kick it off, we got Packers versus Eagles. As much as I don't like the Packers, like I said, I'm still going to give credit to them. They looked completely different than they did last year in the aspect of their defense coming and playing. I'm going to go ahead and take the Packers in week 4.
Got the Eagles. I think that Carson Wentz is a absolute unit. You know, he takes a lot of hits. He is injury prone. But I think against the Packers, the Packers do have good defense. They're going to get pressure on Carson Wentz. But I think that he's going to be able to handle his shit and get out and go. And I do think that this is in some way a revenge game for Jordan Howard because he was a Bears player and he is going against the Packers. And I think once a Bear, always a Bear. And you should still hate the fucking Packers. So he should come out and blow this shit up.
Yeah,
If he still loves Chicago, he'll run for 387 yards with 9 touchdowns.
Carson Wentz's wide receiver core
He
is
doesn't
still
love
injured.
Chicago. They got rid of him.
Yeah.
No, we got rid of him because we couldn't pay him. That's why we got rid. Not
No,
because we
Nagy
thought he
didn't
was
want him.
shitty.
He doesn't fit Nagy's offense. That's why.
Right, but that's not because we don't like him. He just doesn't fit.
I don't know. I think that the Eagles are going to struggle for the next few weeks. Deshaun Jackson's still injured. Alshon Jeffrey is still injured. So you have Aguilar
And
as your
he
biggest
can't
wide
fucking
receiver. That's what I'm
catch.
saying. That's your
He
best
can't
wide receiver
fucking
right now.
catch.
Who the fuck are you going to throw the ball to? You're going to throw it to Jordan Howard every time?
Right.
Jordan Howard's 245 pounds and motherfucker's dragging his air tank behind him down the field. Like, shit, I should have fucking retired when Chicago cut my ass.
I'm taking Packers. They got all the odds in general.
So we got 2 Packers, 1 Eagle.
They're at home against the Eagles.
Yep.
Which helps. You have to remember that Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are both out.
So I just said.
Yeah, I don't really listen to what you have to say. You know,
Yeah, that
kind of
makes
goes in
sense.
one year and out the other. I'm just kidding. Eagles are coming off the back-to-back games where they lost against the Falcons and the Lions, and the Packers are 3-0 right now, and they're on a roll. And you know, my boy A-Rod is gonna snap off like usual. So, y'all. I'm taking
Alright.
the Packers.
Next up, we got Redskins Giants. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Giants in this one. I think Daniel Jones is gonna have to stay hot to keep his love in New York, which I don't think that he would lose the love that New York has given him after one game if he came out and completely shit the bed. But I think that he needs to continue to establish who he is and keep his starting role over Eli. I think he's gonna have to keep performing.
Danny J, you're a fucking dog,
It just
buddy.
scares me. He had
You're a
Saquon for
dog.
some of this game. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
that's
Saquon
true.
at all going into this game.
That's true, but I do think that, like I said, he's got a taste for blood, and he's gonna keep on trying to win games. And I think with Eli in his back pocket, trying to coach him up, telling him what to do, because Eli's got a great head. We can't deny that. His
Yeah.
physical attributes suck. They stink. But I think with his IQ and Daniel Jones' athleticism, it's a good combination, and they're gonna come out and beat up on the Redskins.
So you got Giants. Who are you taking, Dakota? Redskins or Giants?
I'm taking the
Oh my.
Giants.
Do we have our first
This
wash?
is the first. No, I think I'm gonna go ahead and say this is the first and only time this year that the Giants will be our wash pick.
Oh yeah, I think so too. But I'm gonna go ahead and say real quick. But I'm like, wash. Okay, on the next game.
We got Chiefs versus the Lions. Obviously, Chiefs. We're gonna go ahead and watch that. One of you guys are gonna dispute
Yeah.
me on that. I'm
No.
taking Chiefs.
The Lions are a good team, though. Just kidding. The Chiefs.
Matt Stafford's
Chiefs.
gonna fucking be
The Lions
asking.
are a pretty respectable
They
team.
are.
Not against the Chiefs.
Yeah, but they also beat the Eagles that were like a 5-ring powerhouse team this year.
Whose offense has been decimated to this point.
Right.
I think that Matt Stafford is gonna go out after this game and ask Patty Mahomes for his autograph. Is what we're gonna see.
do a jersey swap with you, bro? You're the greatest quarterback.
He's gonna tell him, "I wish I could have grown up like you." How do you win playoff games? I know I make a lot of fucking money, but I can't figure that part out.
Well, I mean, Patty Mahomes didn't really win a lot. Didn't he just win the? No, he lost the first round, didn't he?
No, he made it to
He
the Super
won.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Patty
He made
Mahomes.
it to the
Yeah, Patty
AFC
Mahomes won the
championship.
championship.
Right, so he won
He's only
two,
played.
right?
He's only played in one
Was
playoff.
it 2 or 3?
Stafford is not.
It's 2, right? He plays 2 before the AFC. Correct? There's a wild card, then the first round, second round, AFC, Super Bowl.
No, it's first round on AFC.
Yeah,
Okay, so he only had 1 playoff win. It's pretty
which
great.
is still more than Stafford is.
Right, but it's pretty great, but I wouldn't say that's staggering. I wouldn't say that he's got him completely.
He's
tipped the
1-1 in
scales.
playoffs.
I mean,
And I'm
Patrick
pretty sure
Mahomes
He's
Stafford-
won-
also
he's won in
been
2.
starting
1 and
quarterback
2.
for
No.
1 year.
Yeah, he's 1 and 2. He's played 2 playoff games and only won 1.
Who?
Yeah, he's
Patty
1-1
Mahomes.
then.
No.
How do you win one game out of 2 and be 1-2?
Patty Mahomes.
What are you dumb? Say that again.
He played 2 games and he won one of them. That's 1-1. What are you missing here?
What? Does anybody else hear this?
I think he just spoke knowledge, Mark. I think
What are you missing?
Wait, no. If
Well,
he's
I
played,
two
wait,
games
wait,
and
wait,
he
wait.
won one. That's
Everybody just
1-1.
shut the fuck up. Hold on. If he's played 2 games and he has won 1 and lost the other, he is therefore 1 of 2 of his playoff games.
And Brendan literally said he was
I said he's 1-1.
Of what? 1 of 1 of what?
1 win, 1 loss. Do you not understand that?
Oh,
1-1. What are you
no,
doing?
He's 1 and 1, not 1 of 1. You can't say 1 of 1.
We're getting.
You did. You said
Said
1
1 and
of
1.
1.
Let me clarify for the viewers here. Mar here said
No.
He's won
no,
1 of 2.
You'll hear it.
I'm okay. He said 1 of 2.
You'll hear it.
Brennan
You'll hear it.
said 1 and 1.
Yes.
No.
Mar
no.
is therefore a
Wrong.
fucking idiot.
No. Okay. Right after this is done, I'm gonna fucking play this because we're at 42. This motherfucker
my
says 1 of 1.
If we're at 42, we got speed, but yeah.
He's at 1. He said 1 of 1.
said
I'm just
1 and
saying.
1.
No.
Next.
All right, next we got Falcons Titans. I got Falcons.
No, I'm so done picking the Falcons. Every time that I have to open them, they fucking lose.
I don't have hope in them. I just don't care about this game.
God, I'm taking the Titans. Taking the Titans. I hate the
Titans.
Falcons. I hate the Falcons.
Browns Ravens.
Browns, because Baker Mayfield and fuck Lamar Jackson.
I'm
Yeah,
taking
give
the
it
Browns
up.
as well. I'm
Give
taking the
it
Browns
up.
as well. I think that Baker's got a lot to prove. I think OBJ is yet to do anything spectacular, and that's my dude. That's my
He
dog.
popped off in week 2. Like 175.
Yes, but not consistently. Not when you see OBJ, Jarvis, and Njoku, and Nick Chubb, and Baker Mayfield, you think that there's so many options to cover that one of them has to be open. And I really haven't heard any of those names consistently be like, holy shit.
And the joke is out with the concussion.
Yeah, I know he's out. He landed on his face.
So here's an actual smart reason why I'm taking the Browns. Last week Patty Mahomes showed that he can throw all over the Ravens defense. I mean, it is Patrick Mahomes, I understand. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Baker in the air. The other thing is the Ravens relied a lot on their run, and the Browns have a very good rushing defense. And I don't think Mark Ingram's going to do what he did, which takes away
a lot of
it opens up for like play action and all that for Lamar to throw the ball better. And Lamar didn't even throw the ball
This
that
is
much
honestly
better.
a very hard game for me to pick.
So I personally think the Browns are going to be able to contain Lamar to a point. I don't think Mark Ingram's ever going to do what he did again in his career.
That's a fair assumption. That's a fair assumption.
And I'm going Browns. I think they got a lot to prove, and they just proved that they can compete with the best NFC team as of last year. So
I'm taking the Ravens.
Wait, hold on. You see that? It's Lamar's dick in his mouth.
Okay.
Okay. I'm still taking the Ravens.
So you got the Ravens?
Yeah, I'm not saying Lamar's going to go off as crazy if we've seen him in the first 2 weeks. I still think that the Ravens win this game.
With the 70 QBR against.
I think that Baker's going to throw 1 or 2 picks
QBR
this
is the
week.
worst rating of all time. I hate that. I think QBRs are so dumb.
It's a rating. It's
I
how
know
well you play.
I know, but there's other factors that go into it that I don't like. I think completions, I think touchdowns, and I think
Bro, that's all
yardage.
in there.
No, I know it's all in there, but there's other stuff too. Like how many hits did you take?
Why they literally just
How many?
combine the stats and basically say, this is how good you are.
Right, but plus like
So how do you not like that, but you like all the stats?
because there's not.
doesn't
make any
No, it does make sense. I like the 3 things that go into it, not all 5 together or 6 or however many things get taken into consideration with it.
Next.
Next we got Raiders Colts. I'm taking the Colts.
Was it Raiders Colts?
Yeah.
I got Colts.
Jacoby coming off a big game.
I got the Colts.
Raiders.
Okay.
Next one because we're not going to talk about that.
Patriots
I'm
Bills.
fine.
Patriots. Even though the Bills are 3-0, they're going to see that fly out the window real quick.
Oh yeah, Patriots. They're 16-0.
I thought the Packers were playing the Bills this week.
Are you sure?
Bro,
Pulled it off NFL.
I mean, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I think the Patriots are going to win anyway.
You can check me. That's what I had.
Look at us.
they're playing the Eagles. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I said. I pulled the shit off NFL. So
NFL lies.
yeah, they do. They tell me that Antonio was gonna play this year. Little did I know, the fucking dude's jerking off on the waitresses in the hotel room.
Clown.
So Patriots, Bills, Patriots. Is it a wash or are you gonna go Bills?
No, he's taking the Patriots. He's taking the Patriots. They're 16-0.
Patriots.
I want to
They're
hear his
16-0.
voice. There we go.
They're not
Super Bowl.
16-0.
They're gonna go 16-0.
No.
Did you guys hear
They're
about
Super Bowl.
Antonio Brown though?
What about
He's
Hunter?
retiring. Yeah, he's
No.
retiring.
He's gonna go join Adam Sandler in the Longest Yard crew.
He's gonna be a little gay cheerleader on the side.
Where's he at?
D, give me an I, give me a C, give me a K.
Realistically, if we want to talk about a would you rather, if we were to form an NFL team of the convicts or should be convicts and play
that'd
them
be a
against
dog
that,
team.
you're gonna go Ray Lewis. You got
Hernandez.
Ray Rice, Aaron Hernandez,
With the dog.
Mike Vick, Antonio Brown. Can you imagine that team?
That team would be a bunch of dogs.
And they're trying to fucking run away so they don't get shanked or they don't get shanked by fucking Ray Lewis. They turn around and Antonio's jerking off on them from behind. Where are they going? Then Ray Lewis knocks him the fuck out and drags him down.
Aaron Hernandez is hiding the fucking bodies in the
Yeah, exactly.
end zone. That's it's funny.
Hey, you
as
guys
fuck.
are forgetting about the best one ever. Sean Taylor, bro.
Oh, what did he
Man
do?
was a ball, man.
Yeah,
he was
why-
a part of games.
Yeah,
That's
like he
why-
got
oh, I
killed
was
by
gonna
the
say,
game
but
because
I
he
thought
left.
he just
he
yeah.
left, he wanted out.
Yeah,
They
but
shot
he
the
wasn't
door.
convicted of anything.
When I was like 9 years old and that happened, I cried. That's all I used to watch was Sean Taylor
Poor
highlights.
baby.
Dude, that guy went to the U, man. He was like the guy.
The U is the biggest school of fucking convicts to ever be.
Besides
wow.
Ohio State.
That's true. Let's see. After that, we got Panthers, Texans. I'm taking Texans. Panthers are decimated right now.
I think their quarterback actually didn't look that bad. Didn't he throw for 3 touchdowns?
4.
Yeah, he did. I'm just gonna take the Panthers. I think.
I don't think
I'm
they're going to do
taking
it. I don't see him being able to do it against the Texans defense.
I think Kyle Allen's going to come out and throw another 4 touchdowns.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Kyle Allen.
Yes.
You know what's funny about that? You tell me in a year someone's going to be wearing a fucking Kyle Allen jersey. Just think about the name.
They might.
I don't see it.
They might. Is that Josh Allen's brother? Just kidding. Totally kidding.
Josh Allen put up a good week for me in fantasy.
Yeah, he did. He's a good quarterback
He's a
for
dog.
fantasy because he runs
He's pretty
in.
athletic too. Dude, somebody I was watching I think CBS. They said that Josh Allen has a better arm. He's got the best arm in the league. I legit
Distance-wise, they're saying.
but still, I think Patty Mahomes would beat him. The dude threw a football out of the fucking
He
stadium.
would, but it's because of they're talking about the combine. He threw the farthest football at the combine.
If we're talking about power and accuracy, Aaron Rodgers by far.
We're not talking about accuracy. They're talking about who threw
We're
the
talking
farthest at the
power.
combine.
We're just talking power, you fucking AR dick sucker.
Mm.
And we're not going to count Aaron because Aaron's fucking hopped up on painkillers every time he comes out. and
Your
goes
dick
out.
gets so hard when Aaron Rodgers gets mentioned.
I know, I'm having to hold the table over here.
Bruh.
Chargers, Dolphins. Wash for the Chargers. The Dolphins don't even deserve it.
Yeah,
They should be a
Chargers.
fucking automatic highway.
They should go to the XFL.
Honestly, if we want to make the NFL fair again for the Dolphins, we need to scrap the first round and they get all fucking 32 first round draft picks. And
like
they still won't
the,
compete.
like NHL did with
Yeah,
Las
the
Vegas Golden
expansions.
Knights.
Yeah, the expansions. That would be pretty cool.
They pretty much could be considered an expansion at this point because their whole team's fucking expanding somewhere else.
They're all trying to get the fuck out of the house.
Bucks, Rams. I got Rams.
Bucks, Rams.
Rams.
I'm gonna take the Rams. I'll do the
Wash.
Rams. Wash.
Seahawks, Cardinals. I got Seahawks, and I think it's gonna be close.
Seahawks, but I think Kyler Murray's gonna have a good game.
Yeah.
Seahawks as well.
Vikings, Bears. I got the Bears.
Mitchell Trubisky sucks cock. I'm
Yes, he does.
definitely going with the Vikings. They're gonna
Dalvin
stall
Cook's been
out.
going off.
I don't think the Bears are gonna be able to slow down Kirk Cousins enough for the offense to actually.
Kirk
do
Cousins doesn't even run. Like he's got no. Like you said, slow him down.
No, he's
How
talking
much
about-
slower does he have to be?
No,
something.
he's
I'm not
talking about his
I'm just
game
talking in
plan.
yeah.
Oh, Kirk Cousins doesn't really do much.
Yeah, but he's gonna do enough. What does your offense do? Mitchell Trubisky's ranked 30.
They're not my offense. Don't
You
say
want to
that.
hear something
They're not
crazy?
my offense.
Actually,
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk
Kirk
about
Cousins
it.
has one of the best skill sets in the league, and he still doesn't do enough with
He
it.
makes
Right.
stupid ass decisions.
Yeah,
He
he
can't
Here's
throw the
Mitchell
ball to save his
Trubisky.
life.
Mitchell
He's been hanging
Trubisky.
out with Eli too much.
NFL ranks through 2 games in year 3. This is about to hurt.
Here we go.
33rd in touchdowns with 0.
Compared to
30
Aaron Rodgers, he is the worst quarterback to ever play in the league.
No. 32nd yards per attempt, 4.8. 32nd net yards per pass attempt, 4.26. 32nd yards per completion, 8.3. 31st in passer rating, 65. 29th in QBR, 221. 29th in passing yards per game, 174. And 27th in completion percentage with 58.3. That
That's some pretty
is-
high numbers.
I'm
That was a
so-
lot of numbers. I didn't really
Yeah.
process. a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
that.
Essentially, he's in the bottom 5th of every ranking, or pretty close to it.
It's the worst in every
Jaguars versus Broncos. I got Jags. The Broncos look like shit this year.
They're 0-3 and going Jags.
Going Jags, Gardner Minshew,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Cowboys, Saints. I'm taking Cowboys.
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 Bengals, Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers. I think they're
Oh.
finally gonna win a game.
Oh my
The
god.
Bengals are shit this year.
So are
not
the
as bad as the Steelers.
Yeah, they
Hey.
suck.
Put some respect on Mason Rudolph's name.
I'm going Bengals.
Bengals. Joe Mixon, baby.
All right, that's all we have for this one.
Yeah,
We gotta
so-
do the little fun activity we got planned.
Yeah, so we're gonna run some trivia before we head out.
So this one's for the fans. Can
Yeah.
you guess Dakota's weight? Is it A,
Bing.
enough to break the ice? B, too much for our first office chair? Or C, enough for us to fucking have to go for a wide angle lens on this video?
Bonus question. Can you guess Brendan Ward's cock
I
size?
knew that was coming.
Is it A, it's a
Is it
negative?
A, as long as the vertical phone, or B, as long as the horizontal phone?
What he means by
Or
that
C,
is does he
does it
measure
reach
his
up
dick
or
this
side?
way or this way?
But I think we're forgetting the one and two. We're not putting the curve. I
do my motherfucking thing.
Well, that's a wrap for week 3 podcast. Thank you for tuning in. As always, give us a good subscription button there, you little scroters. That is short for scrotums because we're talking Let's Talk Balls. Don't forget to follow our new Twitter page. It's up and running at Let's Balls.
Yep. We got a video coming out this week, so everyone make sure you like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube. Go ahead and click that button for notifications on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Join the Scroats, and let's see you guys next week.
Also, give us all a follow on Fortnite if you're trying to catch a dub.
Hell yeah.